Hey up! Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to part 1 of 6 of this 6-part Hanna Karlzon Colour With Me If You Like special. So if you've stumbled onto this video by accident, you know, it may be of some use to you, but what I would suggest is that you check out the introduction to the series I've just mentioned, which is my last video or video before that. If you've come here to see part 1 of 6, where we're going to practice and play for as background for our chosen page, or your chosen page, welcome. I'm glad you could make it. Not that this is like a date, because I can't go live, so we're just doing it through the powers of video. So, just to recap, we are doing this page, this one here, and this palette, which I'll put on the screen as well. I find it difficult, just on that note, I want you to bear in mind that we're all probably going to have a slightly different palette in front of us because we're looking on a phone screen. My brightness might be turned right up, your brightness might be halfway down. I prefer physical palettes to look at myself, but my printer's not very good, so I've not bothered printing this palette out. I am just going to use it from my phone, but just keep that in mind. So yeah, this page, this palette, and this part 1 of 6 is all about preparing to do our this background at the weekend. So we're just going to get stuff together tonight, have a little play around and make some decisions on what we want to do. So come the weekend, we can sit down and get straight into it with a plan already in place. So a little bit of time today and a little bit of time at the weekend, and we should have our background done. So if you like, I don't know how many people are going to actually follow along with this colour with me, but what I'd love, seeing as I'll be wrapping it up kind of like a week before Halloween, and if you guys are following along pretty closely, and there are a number of you, I mean, maybe nobody will actually physically colour with me. Maybe you're just watching the videos, which is fine. But if you do colour along this page or another page with me, I'd love to see the results at the end. And I'm thinking at the end for Halloween itself, I'll make a video of all our pages together, and I can put your names against your image, and I can put a list of what you've used as well, so you could send them in to me with a little brief list of what supplies you decided to use, and I could make a video and put it out there for everybody to see, which I think would be fantastic. I've got loads of supplies today, so in practicing and playing around to decide what background I'm going to choose for my page. I've got Distress Oxides, I've got some soft pastels, I've got some Neocolor 2s, I've got some Inktense, I've got some watercolours, I've got some metallic watercolours, I've got some acrylic inks, and I've even got a little thing I want to try with some collage. I've already pulled the colours I want, so if I were you, if you are following along, now's the time to hit pause and grab all your background stuff, all the items that you've got, like what I've just described. Maybe you want to test them all, maybe you know what you want to use already and you just want to have a little play, but grab them now. You don't forget you can hit pause on this video at any time. Grab your stuff, pick your colours, so you need to be matching your colours from your supplies to that palette if you're going to follow along with that palette as well, and come back and then hit play again. Alright, so I will crack on. However, I'm using this sketch pad again. The paper is very similar. We do like a little, feels very, very similar to me, so I'm happy to use that as my test. The first thing I'm going to think about, that we need to think about as well, and I suggest you do right at the start of your little play session, is test some masking fluid. If you're thinking about using masking fluid, do a little test. There isn't a test page at the back of Grains of Gold. That's what I'm using. This page is in Grains of Gold or Seasons. So I've already done a little bit of testing of my masking fluid, which is a cheap masking fluid from a cheapo UK, was I say cheapo store, like B&M or The Range. I got it at one of them, Art Studio Premium. It's definitely a budget brand, Art Studio, I think. So I've used this in my Maria Troller book, Fairy Tale Worlds I think it was, and it was fine. So I'm testing it in this Grains of Gold book. I've already popped some on there. If you're interested, I'll just show you how I apply mine. You're not necessarily going to need masking fluid. I'm trying some, you know, I want to know if I want it to be an option. You know, does this book take this masking fluid okay? Will it come away okay? This is how I apply my masking fluid. One of these, I used to apply it with an old paintbrush, but it was just a bugger to, can I say that word? It was just a pain to, yeah, it was just a bugger to clean it. So I use one of these. This is in a clay set, you know, clay working set that I got. So I kind of just use one of these, like a little rubber end on both ends, and I just use that to push the fluid into areas. I've already done this bit earlier, so just clean that off there with a bit of a baby wipe. So I did this maybe an hour ago. For the purposes of the video, I wanted to see how it comes away, because I'd love to have the option to use masking fluid if I want to. All depends what background medium I'm going to use, I suppose, which I don't know yet, but this is good to know. Well, that is coming away lovely. For a cheap fluid, a non-brand name fluid, I am delighted with that. Let me just see if it went. No, when it was wet I took a look and you could see it, but I can't see anything there now. So yeah, so I'm happy that my masking fluid's going to work okay in this book. I'm aware that some of you guys, by the way, might not celebrate Halloween. I know one person got in touch to let me know that, and I really appreciated it, because not everybody does. Some people don't like Halloween just because they don't like the imagery of it. Some people don't celebrate for religious reasons. I want you to know that I respect each and every one of your beliefs, whatever that is, because I know you'll respect mine in return. And I don't mind Halloween. I didn't celebrate it a lot as a kid, but I think it's a fun thing. I kind of wish we in the UK did it more like the Americans, where they really go to town, you know, and the streets full of people. Unless it's not like the movies. You guys tell me, is it like the movies? Streets full of people, trick-or-treating and things like that. It's not quite like that in the UK. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Don't forget, you can choose any page. It doesn't have to be this page. Everything that we're doing today, I'm not teaching you anything because I'm not qualified and I'm not experienced enough. We're just going through the same process together to get to that end result of a fully coloured, gorgeous page. So that's why we're all here. Right then, so I've now got a bit of wet mask in there. I'm just gonna... No, don't do that, Joe. I'll put this to one side for now. We don't need that, do we? Right then, what shall I start with first? I'm going to start with these Distress Oxides. I got some Distress inks. I got 4 of these Distress inks, not the Distress Oxides. The difference is the ink is a dye, and I think the Oxide is a pigment with a little bit of dye. But it's mainly pigment, the Oxide. And I believe the difference is the ink is very transparent. So, you know, as transparent things do, you will see through it. And the dye, it's that colour, you know what I mean. Whereas the Oxide is mainly pigment with a little bit of dye, and the difference being it's more opaque. It's as if, when I've seen people using it, it's as if it's that same colour, because they do the same colours in the ink and the Oxide. It's as if the Oxide is that colour but mixed with white, if that makes sense. So it just makes it a little bit more chalkier looking, or a bit more opaque. People say they take water different. I've tried the inks a couple of days ago, just in this pad actually. Let's see if I can show you. Just there, look. And that's me trying pencil over it, so just ignore that. But yeah, I just tried the one for aging paper, and I quite like how they work. That was a very, very quick try I did. So I haven't tried the Oxides. I'm going to do that tonight, and I've picked these 3 colours, which I thought would go with those purpley, like mauve colours. This is not exactly like, but similar to that kind of pale orangey apricot colour in the middle. And this one is like the green. It's maybe a paler version of that green, so I thought I'd try it because these 3 colours might work on my background. Talking of colours, just while I'm opening these up, so you can see the felts. I may add water to these, I might just use them dry. I'm certainly going to start using them dry. Yes, just to say while we're talking about colours, I've had another lovely contribution on the Prismacolor pencil thing, which we'll talk more about in part 3 as we're preparing pencils. But I've been given a great list of the colours. You know, somebody else has done their matching as well, just like Holly's done for us the other day. And they've also added some blends for the colours in the back, you know, in the back of the image. So you can see quite a deep blue, a limey green. So they've gone through and the actual image with the leaves behind our palette colours, they've matched all those for us as well in the Prismacolors. Because I can't do that for anybody. I can't do it for myself because I don't have Prismacolors. So the most kind people have been in touch and have been offering that. So Holly has done that for us, and I've put Holly's palette matches for her Prismacolors. I'll make sure her name goes on screen. And I've also got some from Autumn Festerman, who is a fantastic freelance illustrator that is also a colourist. She's enjoying her colouring journey on YouTube as well, so I'll include her address. The Artful Life or My Artful Life, I will have to check. But she's a fantastic illustrator and colourist. So she's done that for us. Thanks a lot, Autumn. That's on a different subject though, because we're talking backgrounds tonight. So let's have a go. So I believe a lot of people use sponge pads. I don't have any sponge pads, so I'm going to use this lovely brush. I just love the feel of these. So I'm going to have a little go. Don't know what to expect. Like I said, this is my first time. I literally took the cellophane off just before the video. So I always think it's best with these to try and hit the paper already moving, if that makes sense. And some recommend that you start off the paper, which I think is probably a good idea. But I'm really interested. Ooh, see, I went straight in. I wasn't concentrating, were I? Should have come in from the side, because once it's on, Distress Inks, Distress Oxides, once it's on, it stains. So I've got to get used to these as well. So when I'm doing this now, I'm thinking, do I like the effect it's giving me for my background? Is this a potential I might want to use? And is the colour like that? It's not so much a mauve colour, this one. There's it's like a pinky, rosy, pinky, purpley colour at the bottom. I think I like these as well, because that's clearly, there's nothing left on there to transfer, so I feel like, rightly or wrongly, I can go straight into this. Ah, that's better, Jo. You're learning, lass, you're learning. So this is what I thought might match my peachy, apricot-y, orangey colour in the middle of that palette, and I think that is a good match for that, actually. And I like how it looks on the page. So far, Distress Oxides. The only reason I'm not using the inks tonight is because I didn't have a colour match in them, the Distress inks. I like how you can gently build colour with this then, because that is, as long as you hit the kind of paper already moving lightly before you start putting pressure down, it can be quite smooth, I think. Let me try some green. I just want to make sure all that's... Oh, look, you can see the... That's quite juicy, that one. Oh, yeah. Oh, I did it again. See? If ever you think, oh, I always do it wrong, me. We all do. Anybody who don't show you the mistakes is just hiding them. Nobody is perfect. We all make mistakes. Well, that's very witch. That's a very witchy green. Now, whether it's a good match, it's certainly it's a lighter value than the green in our palette. But I kind of like it. That is a very witch's brew type green, isn't it? You know, imagine that smokiness coming out of a cauldron. That would be really good. I don't think we've got a cauldron on our image, have we? We've just got a broomstick, a cat, and some pumpkins, I think, as well as the witch. I will check again. And that masking fluid's dry. So, yes, I do like Distress Oxide. I'm not necessarily saying I would use all these three colours together. I would have to think about that. But I certainly like the application. And it all depends on your standards for yourself as well. For me, I'd be happy, you know, this bit here, which I hope you can see the brush texture. I don't like that. I would hope that I don't make that mistake. When I'm not doing a video and it's not a relaxed practice and play session, I will take my time and I'll concentrate more. But I do love that colour. And that green is very good for witch. So I think these three colours could work in my background. I could do full videos on practice and play with oxides, practice and play with acrylic inks, practice and play with Neocolor too. If I do a lengthy test tonight, we'll never get through all my supplies that I want to try for this particular page. So I'm going to move on to something else now. You get the luxury of being able to pause the video and play for as long as you like. So I would encourage you to do that now. If you're using Distress inks or whatever you are using, play away. Incidentally, actually, I've got these off Amazon really cheap before I realised these existed. So I'm going to give that a little go before I... Don't know whether brushes like that. I think I'll get too much brush texture. Let's see, coming from the edge. Oh, it's not bad at all, actually. That's good to know. Because I think I got them in a pack of 10 and I haven't used them yet, so... I feel like I've got a bit of a dirty... Oh, it's because I've mixed it in with that brown, isn't it? So, yeah, that's the thing to remember then. If I'm using these, I don't want to get the colours. I have to think about how close I get one colour to another because it can look a bit muddy. There. Well, this is something new for me. Let me know if you've used Distress Oxides and Distress Inks. If you use them on your colouring pages, let me know. If you've got any top tips, share them, because I would encourage everybody, if you are following along with this, to... What have I done there? Oh, I've put wrong lids on wrong things, haven't I? I would encourage you all, after you've done part 1 of 6... After you've followed along, check the comment section on that video, because I reckon there'll be conversations going on that'll help us as well. Right, the next thing I'd like to try is, let's stick with dry stuff for now. So I'm going to go with soft pastel, and I've got, oh God, this just fills me with joy. These colours that I think are a decent match, and I might want to consider for my background. So, when it comes to masking soft pastels, you can use your liquid mask. I'm sure you've all got your own techniques as well, or you've seen techniques. Don't forget, as I always say, I'm not a teacher. YouTube will have loads of videos on how to properly use things like distress oxides and pastels. You're just we're just like two mates, aren't we? Discovering it together. That's the way you've got to think of it with me. So I generally use makeup pads to rub my soft pastels into the page. To mask, however, I would normally I can be a bit lazy with masking fluid, so I would normally trace around something. Just grab a biro for now. Like this image. Obviously I might take more time with it if I decide to use soft pastels. And you don't have to do this, by the way. Soft pastels can quite easily just be blown, you know, if you've got crumble, it can be blown off your paper. That much I've discovered. Done a few pastel backgrounds now. And I don't ever make my what's it called? My little masking image perfect to the line. It's usually a bit bigger actually, because I don't often work soft pastel right up to my actual illustration. I'll kind of fade it in to white before it hits the illustration, if that makes sense. So I'll use my pastel in this area and I'll probably stop here. And then I might blend coloured pencil into my pastel to make sure I don't get pastel on my image. Or I will, you might find a way of using your soft pastel right up to your illustration line art, but I like to just keep away from it. Use coloured pencil, or I just fade it into white and my image has a bit of a white halo. To be honest, I don't really have a system. I just do what I feel like at the time. So this is how I use my soft pastels. Let me I use a little scalpel like this, or craft knife, I guess you would call it. I'm not a surgeon after all. Let's try this green. And this is what I do. So I'm going to try all these colours. And as I say, I might not necessarily use them all, but I'll come away from this today understanding which colours I like best. I'm hoping I'll have a full decision on my background, so I can prepare all the bits I need for the weekend. Well, for Friday it'll be when I put the next video up. And crack straight on with actually applying it to the page. So I just wrap it around my finger like this, and I like to try and push it in a little bit, because I don't like to waste any media, any supplies. Don't want to be blowing all that lovely pastel onto the floor if I can help it. Not that I'm a tight Yorkshire woman, of course. So I wouldn't normally just be doing it in a circle. I might be making, in fact I'll show you what I mean. Sometimes I might put it on the page in this fashion. I might decide to take it to the edge of the page, and, bring it into the page in streaks like that, and then maybe mix another colour into it. Oh, I like that blue mixing into. Will it match his palette though if I keep mixing the colours? We don't know, do we? That's what we're finding out. It's not pastel proof. Pastel can slip under there quite easily. It's just avoiding me dropping any big bits on. Hey, I tell you what, I'm going to bear in mind this colour palette for future use, because I really love it. I tend to love all these colours individually, so I'll remember what they look like. I say I remember. My memory's not what it used to be, but I will try and remember. Yeah, the paler ones often take a little bit more layering. Let me just try this one up here, away from that other Distress Oxide Orange. I just want to see what depth of colour I can get out of these. That might be a bit too bright, that orange. Oh no. I'm filming on my phone, so I can't look at the palette. I've just got it to memory. You guys, I might leave it on corner of the screen for you anyway. I like them. If we're going to go light, these greens are bright, aren't they? It's quite dark, that green on the palette, but if I can find a lighter green, I'd be more in favour of a lighter, brighter green, but it would have to work as well with these, so I don't think that's terrible. So far I love both these ideas for background. I don't think I'd use the blue on the witchy page. Not that blue anyway, I think it looks a bit... That was supposed to match that very pale, like a pale cornflowery, mauve purpley colour. But I don't think it does actually. On my swatch, on my pastel swatch, I thought it was a good match, but I'm not sure now. So I will ignore that. Don't forget, you don't have to just stick to your palettes. You can bring in other colours if you feel that they work for you. But I'm loving how we've got those dark jewel tones in that palette. So, you know, I'd like to keep the colours quite deep in the main illustration. So how do these build up? Yeah. I do like soft pastels, you know. Look how we could get a nice smoky effect going on in the background there, you know, something quite mystical and, well, it's like I've done a witch's hat. But yeah, I love that. Right. Yes, what about this? I thought this might match these two might match that that purpley rosy colour at the bottom of the palette. So let me see them separate. That's over the top of that peachy colour as well. The good thing is because I'm doing it in this sketchbook, I'll be between now and the weekend when I actually start applying it to the page. I can always look back, see how I feel about things. I'm going to move on. I encourage you to play for a lot longer than I am. Like I say, I'm doing this for video purposes, as well as, you know, for my own purposes. So I will move on. Oh, that was never going to work. I love these Montmartre soft pastels. Really, I think they're about 30 quid, and there's, how many is there? I'm just trying to see that box. 72 different colours. Beautiful. So far, super happy with the pastel. Super happy with the distress inks. Where shall we go from here? What other, have we got any more dry media that I want to try? I think that's it for the dry stuff. Everything else, oh, let's try a little bit of spray. A little bit of water on this. I wonder if it's too, will it react still? Or is it too late, do you think, on this Distress Oxide? I definitely have them in my mind as a dry medium more than anything else, but people do wonderful things with them wet, don't they? I'm about to turn this page, so that's just going to drip down, but oh yeah, you can see the separation now. I'll try and zoom in on edit for you. Yeah, I like that separation that we get in there. See if I can hold it a little bit closer to the camera for you. That's actually really fun. Thought I wasn't going to be bothered for water effect, but that was that area is where I did one light spray and it's gone all speckledy. Now I'm very interested in the Distress Oxides for this background. Now I'm excited about something new. I love that. For now, you're getting pegged up there. Let's move on to some water media. Right, what have I got? I should really wash my hands. Let's get rid of that. Neocolor 2s. I will list all the colours that I use just in case you've got Distress Oxides and you've got a vast collection. That was Mown Lawn, Tea Dye and Dusty Concord. And the pastels were in the Montmartre, I think that's an area of Paris, isn't it? Montmartre set. It's white. I'll list them all somewhere. Right, Neocolor 2s. These are the ones that I fancied in my set as decent matches. So we have Violet, Mauve, Sky Blue, we've got Chromium Oxide Green and Apricot. So I'm thinking about these for my background, and we can apply them in 2 ways. Let's try both. So let's try direct. Maybe we want an effect like, that's a bit of a similar colour to put next to each other, Joe. Let's go in between. I've only used Neocolor 2s once, so I am no expert, as I say. We'll be experimenting together. Somebody told me that they've had loads of media, they've bought it all, they've got all the kit in the caboodle fully stocked up, and they've hardly used any of it yet. And I totally understand that. Sometimes just getting in the supplies is super exciting in itself, and then you can become very quickly overwhelmed by how much you've got. Even though you won't part with it for love the money now, it's still, the pressure to use it is great, isn't it? But it doesn't have to be. No guilty feelings in this space, thank you very much. Right, so we're going to go in with some water. I'm just using my watercolour brushes. I don't know whether you're supposed to use special brushes for these things. I've got wet brushes as well, which I enjoy using. I like that green in the Neocolor 2. I think that's the best. I do like that green. It's not too bright and toxic looking. I do like that green. I like the way that sits next to that. Let's see what it looks like pushed into that. Is it too pretty and princessy for this page? Maybe all these are just too pale for the look that you're wanting to achieve. Why can't you have a pretty pastel witch page? Of course you can. You can do what you want because it's your page. I'd like to keep it in the main illustration. I'd like to keep quite deep jewel tones, so I don't know whether some of these will feel too pastel-y. You know, when they're watered down like that. How deep can I keep these colours? Kind of want less water, don't I? Let me dab my brush off a little bit. Yeah, now I'm getting my deeper colours. So I hope you're playing as well at the moment with your Neocolors. You've probably used them a lot more than I have. Like I say, share your tips. I like that. So with just a damp brush, get a bit of a deeper colour. I definitely feel like this isn't working, this pale purpley colour for me, but for something else I think that's a gorgeous palette. You know, the more pastel-y look. Let's try using them on the I'm interested in these 2 colours maybe from my background, or maybe a darker violet colour. do think this was a cracking invention from Caran. Don't know whether anybody else has done it. This palette's smooth on one side and rough on the other. You might have it. I think it's dead clever. You can use it with your Inktense as well in this way, so you're just, you know, using your Neocolors like watercolours. Still don't know whether that's going to be too pinky for my liking for this particular page. I don't know, you know. And it's funny because the pastel and the distress oxides, they were quite pastely and pinky, and well, they weren't pastely, or whether they were just light, weren't they? It's a funny thing how you look at things, isn't it? Actually, I think these would work. This for me, for what I'm thinking for my page, you'll have to, you know, I encourage you to have different. Some of you might want to follow exactly what I'm doing. I doubt it, but if you do, wow, that's awesome. I really would like to see a picture at the end. But I think most of you are just following the process of, you know, going through the motions of, you know, testing your stuff. In which case you'll have an idea in what you want to achieve as your end result, maybe. Just like I do. I think I like this, and I might do pencil work over top in background as well. To deepen areas, you know, like where it's deeper there, I might intensify that even more. Ah, gosh, that's definitely very pinky. And I would have sworn that these were good matches to the palette, but obviously when you're adding water to something, it's a totally different colour, well, totally different value or shade or whatever it is. Neat, isn't it? Like that. That's the match for the palette. But it's, when I looked at my swatches, these look the closest I would get. So it's just about how deep, you know, how much water you apply, I guess. You can get it quite dark, I guess. Right. Gosh, I love those colours together. Just don't know whether that's what I'll go with. So I think I'd like to try a bit of Inktense in comparison. So in the Inktense, I've got Mauve 740, Amethyst 735, Deep Rose 710, Willow, which doesn't look anything like the colour on that palette, but I think on my swatch, if there's plenty of water on it, it could be like that middle, that apricot colour in the middle. Lagoon 810 and Violet 800. So let's have a go. How might I put these colours together on the page? In the background. That would have been clever if I'd have. So that's 1900. Mauve, Amethyst, Deep Rose. I thought this might be like that colour at the bottom of that palette. Lagoon. It's quite a deep. I thought it would have blue leaning towards purple, but I'm not sure when I see it neat like that. And Violet. Now everybody advises with Inktense that you go, and it is a good tip, I might not strictly stick to it when I'm playing, but that you go from your lightest colour into your dark, so you don't, it's pretty obvious really, you don't want to drag all your darkest colours into your lighter colour. It's best if you're going light into your dark, unless you're wanting most of it to be dark, I guess. So I tend to try and keep that in mind. See, I thought at its lightest value, this might, but I think it is too brown. But I didn't have anything else that I thought in the Inktense was a good match. To that apricot colour in the middle. What are you finding out? Tell me what the results of your little test has been. That is a blue that leans purple, isn't it? I don't know what the official term for that is. That's how I describe it. Gosh, I love that. Is it too purpley for that colour on the left hand side of our palette? Yeah, I think for this background, I think I'm going to prefer Inktense over Neocolor too. It's called Inktense for a reason. I'm assuming it's because it's a play on words because the colours are intense. I like it. Ooh, I like the way that's forgetting this brown band here. I just like that effect. I'm a bit of a child. I love when things splatter and stuff. That's really pleasing. I'm not saying this is how I'd place them on my background. This is quite messy. But I'm just playing. I encourage you to play. Be free in these books. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Just get a feel. They can be quite more, you know, if I put them on that dark, it's interesting, different colours. Like here, we've still got the pencil mark very clear. Here, not so much. That's blended in a little bit better. So it's good to get to know your colours. So that's mauve. And this is that lagoon. That's nice. Gone quiet, you see, because I get lost in it. I get lost in the play. Let me just have a look back at... Yeah. I'm too excited about this. I feel like I really want to use that. And why not? If you're passionate about what you're doing, just follow your passion. Whether it's like in terms of, you know, your big passions or little passions, like I'm passionate about that Distress Oxide on that other page. Now I've sprayed it with water. So I'm still leaning towards that for my background. This is just me getting an idea of what I can get out of each supply, and this is a very quick idea. I would encourage it, if you're into giving some time to your supplies at the moment, you know, I would just spend an hour on playing with one thing. But for the purpose of this video, like I say, ooh, look at that pink and that green that's mixed together. Quite like that as well. Obviously, if you're doing a smooth, your pencil, let me just stress this as well, I'm just scrawling with this pencil. If you're colouring, don't let this put you off Inktense, because they're a wonderful thing. If you're colouring neatly, oops. if you're taking time to colour a bit more neatly, which, you know, the idea isn't that you just scroll it like I was doing, you will get smoother result. So take no notice of these. That's because of the way I'm just playing about with it. But yeah, if you colour more neatly, like I say, I'm no expert. You tell me how you get the best out of your Inktense. I generally don't use that much water. You normally will be using a water brush. And you'll be doing some reasonably neat colouring. And being a lot more considered and thoughtful. I should have made that a bit clearer at the start. I just assume you know what's going on in my mind, which I should never do. So yeah, that's more the way you will end up using your Inktense. You'll know this if you've used it. I can't teach you anything. I'm just trying to explain. But yeah, don't judge it by that. Oh, I mean, it depends what you're doing. If you're doing like some sort of retro 90s design or 80s design, that effect might work. Who knows? Right, what shall we try now? Some watercolours. Shall we try some watercolours? How many of you have watercolours? I've got too many things. I don't get a chance to use them half as much as I'd like to. So I think, looking at my swatches, let me just add a little bit of water into these while we're waiting as well. So I think blackberry might be nice in the background. Maybe Fiji, maybe mermaid. Probably not mermaid, but I just like it. So I want to play with it. Pink and maybe the bronze. That is not too far removed from that apricot colour, isn't it? So just getting some water in them. Obviously, if you've used watercolours before, you'll mix, you know, it's a lot of it's, you get your colour from mixing colours together, don't you? But I'm just going for what the most obvious choices might be. So this is, I think it's ultramarine. Which is too blue, so let's try it with a bit of this manganese colour. Ooh, I have a tendency to use quite a lot of water because I like the way the water affects the paint. Let me see, try this green. That's quite like that green in the palette, is it not? If I remember rightly. Greens and purples are very witchy, aren't they? Very witchy indeed. So look at this Naples yellow. You definitely have got every colour you need in your watercolours. I suppose that's you could say that about all media. If you mix two of your Ohuhu markers together, they're going to give you another colour. So you can apply that to every media. It's just about, it takes just a bit of work in your palette, doesn't it? Adding a bit of this and a bit of that to get your desired colour. I'm just wondering if I could get anywhere near that apricot colour, that orangey apricot. This is a tiny bit of maroon. How would we use it in as background? Would we just do a right light wash if we were using watercolour? Would we just wet as page and put loads of, just see what happens with You know, a little bit of the old wet on wet. Again, just to remind you, I would be normally playing with one type of media for hours, which you guys can do. You can pause, or you can just watch this video, then just hope it goes, you know, you can go away and be inspired to mess about a little bit. You might be thinking, what is this for? What is it actually telling her? Well, already I'm forming opinions, so it's definitely been worth doing. Ooh, I definitely like the idea of like a wispy smokiness in the background, as if it was coming from a cauldron. You know, like just an impression of it, not an actual, you know, this is smoke coming from a cauldron, but like an impression of that. I like the idea of it. Ooh, look, you can do little wiggly bits like that. Do you all have a fear of water media? I love it, but I do, you know, because I'm not 100% in control of it. That's because I like being in control. So I do have a little bit of fear of it, if I'm being honest. But I enjoy it more than I'm scared of it, if that makes sense. So I don't know about you, but I like when you get this like separation going on. I think once it's dry, it can leave you with a nice effect. Let me use my water brush for my metallics. Because sometimes I like to, let me see, let's have a go with this blackberry. Sometimes I like to, you know, edge areas in a little bit of metallic. You're probably thinking, what's she doing? You know, when you've got something in your own head. These Clear Pearl colours, I absolutely adore them. This colour's called Blackberry. Could do with mixing it up a little bit more. There we go. And when they're dry, you get such shine payoff. It's lovely. So that's not too far away from that colour at the bottom of the palette, is it? That blackberry colour. Let's have a look what Fiji's like. This might be too Fiji. It might be a too Fiji green. Oh, but it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's bloody gorgeous. Sorry, I've just done an accent there. I've just offended a large portion of my own country, I think. That's gorgeous. What else do I fancy? I fancied this as maybe an accent for this apricot colour. I say apricot, orange, whatever it is. Oh, sacre bleu. Have you noticed how I start doing accents when oh dear, this is when my subscriber count starts to go down. Oh, Santa Maria. I love that though. I love the idea, maybe, of doing some washes in these different colours. Quite like when you get an edge like this for this page. I'm thinking I'd quite like a background where I've got a lot, maybe one or two colours, maybe three, either intermingled like this, and then I'd go around and I'd pick out these edges with my metallic paint. So that's one of my ideas. This pink I fancied as a match toe. It's probably too pinky. But I was thinking it was a bit rosy, like you know, like that colour at the bottom of the palette. Yeah, I don't think that goes for this, but it's beautiful. But yeah, I like the idea of. See, if you've seen my colouring pages and you like them, even just a bit, if you like them, if you think they're all right, I want you to know that I always start like, you know, there'll always be a little bit of paper that I test things out on. And while this may look like a bit of chaos, and how does this turn into my colouring pages? Well, it just does. It does. So anybody seeing me do this might think, well, this girl's got no skills at all. But you've got to just allow yourself some messy, not, you know, play that isn't uptight. Just let yourself go. I love that. Don't know whether it goes, I don't know it's how witchy it is. That's definitely witchy, isn't it? Fiji in pearl colours. Oh yes, I do like you. I do like you, sunshine. Let's have a bit of you here. Oh. Oh. I resisted the urge to say something else in a different language then. Oh no! It's for my Scottish viewers. Right, I'm going to move on from watercolour. I think when it comes to actually doing the page, I could get good matches with my watercolour, and I like the depth it's given me. I probably need to practice more with my Neocolor tools, you know, because I thought they were going to be the choice that I made for my background. They're actually really nice there. That were my Neocolor tools, wasn't it? Yes, it was. There, I like that now. Oh, them two, I like these two. Maybe like a smoky background. I'm not going to go with my Inktense, I don't think. I like the intensity of it, but I don't think my patience of shading in a background isn't enough that I could get it smooth enough to how I wanted it for my skill level where I'm at the moment. I'm more confident getting a smoother look with watercolours and maybe Neocolor too. Not so much there, because that's the same issue, because I just scrawled, didn't I? But maybe using it on my palette, I prefer. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I like how that is different to my watercolour. The finish is different to when you use watercolour in the same colours. So actually Neocolor 2 is still in my thoughts. And certainly watercolour, I love the idea. The things I've been doing with the metallic watercolour as well, I could do, you know, with the Neocolor 2s. Let me just pop these to the side. Next play I want to have a go with is my, you've already maybe seen the video if you've watched any more, chuffing, I'm getting tongue-tied. If you've watched any of my other videos, you might have seen me playing with some inks for the first time the other day. Well, I got 6 colours. No, I didn't. I got 5 colours from that shop. And I used this green the other day. But these 3 I picked because I'm naturally drawn to pinks, purples and, you know, lovely blues. And then when I've looked at that palette today, I think they look like a really good match in the bottle. So let's have a quick play with ink. Oh, I better let's use this. I'm just going to put all 4 of these colours, just a little bit. Jackie were fantastic, gave me some extra advice after that video. You might know it were inspired by Jackie at Spare Room Studios, my acrylic ink play. and she got in touch and said she does dilute it, or I should try diluting it with a little bit of water, and then it won't stain as quickly, which is just, you know, sometimes people like Jackie give me advice and I feel right daft, because I'm like, well, that's pretty obvious actually, Jo, why didn't you think of that? But that's why she's a popular YouTuber, because she doesn't judge anybody for what they know, however much they know or however little they know. And she knows she knows a lot of stuff, certainly in comparison to me. Anyway, enough of talking about Jackie. She's got enough blooming subscribers. I'll tell you who else is great for watching as well. Oh, God, she's got some skills. Coloured by Maia. Absolutely fantastic. I think she's going to do an acrylic ink video soon. Anyway, so she said dilute it a bit, so let's do that. Fill me big pipette up. I wonder how much she would suggest, Jackie. If only she didn't live at the other side of the world, I'd go around for a brew and pick her brains. Okay, so let's have a look at these just as they are. I'm going to wet my page first, because I do love a bit of the old wet into wet. Right. And do I want to use my water brush? Let's have a little look. What can we do with... Oh, gosh, I love these, you know. I love these. Put some more water on. What are you going to do? You know, so many... My colouring pages are going to tell a story of my development, because I don't practice too much before I just use them on a page. Like I said in one of my other videos, I've no fear. That's one of my strengths, I think, is that I don't fear much in terms of having a go. Let's see how deep and intense I can get the ink with less water. Nice. Yeah, I just give anything a go, me. So I'm going to see the story of my development in my colouring pages, because I won't hold back, even though I'm not using them fully correctly at the moment. You know, I'm just learning, aren't I? I'm still going to use them on my colouring pages, because I could get run over by a bus tomorrow, and I'd hate to be there, you know, having turned into an angel, thinking, oh, I never got to try out that blooming acrylic ink. Oh gosh, that's right. So these colours, what is it about these bright greens that I love? This sort of phthalo-y greeny, bright greeny colour. I love that little separation there. I should maybe mix them up a bit better, shouldn't I? So I don't think this pink's for this page. That's what I've decided. But I'm still playing with it because it's gorgeous. Isn't it? Let's get some more water on this. There we go. And I don't think the blue's for this page. It's not that it wouldn't work, it's just I want to stick to those more jewel tones, these like emeralds and amethysty colours. That's what now. Why is that done that, Jackie? Why is that done that? Is that because I haven't mixed them up properly here, or is it just one of them awesome things that happens? And will it dry? Will it dry right? Interesting. I'm talking about this separation. Is that because I haven't mixed it up properly? Now I'm just making a mess. Oh, look, I've made a sea horse. What do they have? Oh, they have them little wings on back, don't they? I've made a sea horse. Do they have ears? Yeah, why is this separated, this green? Let me mix it up more. Did I not shake the bottle up enough? This is the green that I used the other day though, so it should be fine really. Yeah, it's fine. There's all sorts going on this paper though, isn't there? I've got pastel dust and everything. Right, the pink and the blue is not for me on this occasion. I do like that green. I don't know how far away from palette I'm getting though. But I really like that. Do I trust myself enough to use the technique? Let me show you that in case you didn't see the other video. I mean, you could go back and have a look, but let me just grab my Vibrant Wilds book, which is what I use for a bit of the old testing and play. So this is that green that I used, that I played with the other day, and I love this. I would have this look in the background of my witch page. You know that broomstick circle? So this was achieved by putting plenty of water on, but not going right up to the illustration. And then what I did was I added the ink to the water and then took it in to the illustration. So I like that design, so I would consider doing that with Indian inks for this page. So let's have a look. So let's say this is the edge of my illustration. Let's have get some water on, as we say up here in Yorkshire. Don't want that pink, I'll try this purple. So I achieved this so you can see where the edge of my water is there, and then I just took the paint up, the ink up to me, keep dipping it in pink, the ink up to my illustration. Like that. Don't forget there's actual proper techniques and tutorials on YouTube. So get blooming Googling how to use things. I don't know why I don't do that more. I just watch Jackie, don't I? Oh dear. So yes, that's an option for me, because I do like that I just showed you in that book, that green. I did really like that, and I'd like to use it on a page. So that is one of my options, acrylic ink. Have I not used anything that I said I was going to use? I don't have pan pastels, I'm afraid. I've got oil pastels, I've got acrylic paint, and I've got some gouache. But I don't fancy using any for this page. If you do, start testing your media, have a little play. I'm going to use that on a different page. I want to try a background in acrylic and a background in gouache, or gouache as they say now. In the 90s at my college we called it gouache. Right, so have we tried everything? I hope if you've been just had this video on while you're having a little play, that was the idea. This is supposed to keep you company and just encourage you to get messy and play with your stuff in order to make a decision on your background. So looking at this page, there we are, looking at this page. Oh, there's something else I want to try. And I think this thing that I want to try, I'm thinking about it for inside this broom. And I'd love it if you'd try it as well with me. You might have done it already. Or it could even be used for the outside of the illustration, because that is a complete... do you know what I mean? That could be one part. Yep, through that broom and down there. And that's then this is your inside. Or you could class that as your edge of your inside, and this bit here could be part of your inside. But anyway, something I'm interested in trying, right? I've printed out some I just googled spellbook text, And I've printed this off, and one of the things that I wanted to try actually, that'll be right, peg that up there, is aging some paper. Now this paper already, I've just printed this out on my printer, but I want to see, I feel like I would like to have this in the inner background or the outer background. So I was thinking we could do techniques like, you know, tea staining. Could actually tea stain if you wanted. But I thought I might try the tea dye Oxide on this. So let me have a little go. Oh, already I love it. Just looks too perfect though, doesn't it? Let's see if I can. I think I've got a brownie colour that I could add a bit more to as well. Yeah, I think I've got a bit more of a darker brown. In fact, I know I have. Oh, and do you know what else would look? I don't know whether this is taking it a step too far. Is this blue too? This blue might be too blue. Do you know what I mean? Oh, oh, it's witchy. Why do I get excited just by it splattering some paint? Dear, oh dear. So how about a bit of an ink splatter? I wonder if I can give this a little... Oh, I was hoping it'd splat. You don't know if you don't try, do you? But yes, I like this torn look. I wonder if I could burn some of it. Don't try this at home. Don't go away. I'm going to get my lighter. Don't try this at home, guys. I don't know whether YouTube allows this kind of thing, but I'm going to burn corner of this. I've got some water at the side of me. Not the best idea. I'm probably going to set off my smoke alarm, aren't I? Yeah, don't do this in your house. Do not do this at home. Do it in your garden. Love that. Love that. So... well... thought I'd found a new art supply there. Ash. Charcoal! That's where charcoal comes from, isn't it? So yeah, nothing new there, Joe. Moving swiftly on. So I like that idea. So I would cut this, I would have to trace. I don't want to get muck on my page. My hands are filthy now. I'd like it on the inside, I think. So I would have to trace these sections here, and I would cut it out, trace it, transfer it, cut it out, and then glue it in there. Is it colouring, you say? It's filling a space on a page with some form of colour or art or print, so yes, it's colouring. And I'd love to incorporate some, because I was watching Coloured by Maia, and she does sometimes almost a full page with collage, and she actually makes her own papers. So she'll take like what we've just done there. Let me just drop this again. So she'll have a mess about, obviously a little bit more controlled than this probably, but she'll then use that as collage paper for one of the colouring pages, which is fantastic. So she's totally inspired me. I fancy, let me just put this book down. I fancy, what a lovely page, a nice witchy page. We could do it, yeah, so we could use a bit of collage on this page. So I feel fully inspired, and I think I'm going to think about it between now and weekend, but I think I'm going to leave out this because there's parts of this that are still big enough to use on my collage, so I don't have to reprint it. I love the way that looks. So I think I'm going to do my inner background, I'm going to do in aged spellbook text, maybe. Or is it cheesy? I'm going to think about it. Maybe I'll do it on the outside, like a frame, you know, to frame the broomstick circle. Yeah, I'll have a think about that. So I'm definitely want to incorporate this just because I'm giddy about it. So it's happening. And just put these to one side so I can look back through. My shortlist is, I'd love to include some metallics. I would have to try and be subtle because I think I would only enjoy them if they were subtle in the background. So I might include some metallics with either Neocolor 2s as my main media, maybe watercolour or maybe inks. See, so many options. The depth of that colour there is gorgeous, isn't it, that ink? So that was that one. What is it called? Purple. I love that. Liquitex Purple. The green for your information with phthalo green. Then we've got magenta and phthalo blue. See, that's done it for me. That's made my decision. I'm excited to use these on a page, and I'm going to do it in October because there's going to be loads of mystical and magical things to colour. This excites me. I like that water. I'm new to Distress Oxide. I know they've been going years, and you might have used them, and this might be old hat to you. You know, the novelty might have worn off of the Distress Oxide for you, but it's new to me, so I love that. And I think if I'm going to have this on the outside, I'd have to think about what colours I choose. Maybe I'll stick to this kind of colour in my background. I'm not sure how. I do like that colour though. Let me just have another look at. In fact, don't mind me. I hope this doesn't keep going in and out of focus every time I lift this page up. I'm sorry if it does. I'm not a YouTube professional, but I'm learning. Let's just have one last look at this. What's it like on? I don't think I'd use it on this paper, this purple, but unless I wanted to create some smoke going across it, some purple magical smoke. It's very kind of like muted, isn't it? It's very muted as a purple. What's it called again? Dusty, yeah, dusty Concord. So anytime something's dusty, it's kind of muted, isn't it? My husband bought me these again. He went in my basket. He'd taken me to shop and treated me to my bumming stuff in art shop. And then I was saying, oh, in art shop I got Distress ink, which is different, as I mentioned. And I was saying to him, oh, I really wanted Distress Oxide because I've heard they're easier to work with. By the way, I don't think that's true. I think they're the same, having had a little play. I said, but I want a Distress Oxide, but I'll take these inks and have a go. And he remembered. So he's gone in my Amazon, because we use my Amazon account, and ordered me a bloody 12 pack, and there's no way I would have. The thought of somebody choosing 12 colours for me, I had no control over. But what a lovely surprise, and as it happens, they're all lovely colours that I know I'm going to use. So I've got blooming 12 Distress Oxides now. I feel like super lucky. Super, super lucky. Bit more splattery. I need a better squirty bottle, you know, one of them that you can have a bit more control over, pump. so it can either splatter or spray. Because that's quite scary, isn't it? You've just done your background like that and then you're going to spray it with loads of water. That's totally out of your control, isn't it? Scary stuff. Not really, because it's only colouring. Let me see. This felt stuff's funny, isn't it? I always thought they were going to be foam, but it's felt. Spread it out more, Joe. That's what you need to be preparing to do on your page. So you can see how I've kind of made some decisions and now I'm narrowing down my play art. I'm going back to things and thinking, let me have another go with that. And I hope you're doing the same, or I hope you're planning to do the same. I think I want to incorporate this, but I'm going to have to think carefully about what colours I want to use in my background to go with it. So I'm going to give it some thought over the next few days, but I'm thinking I would like to work with these as they're so new to me in the background. Maybe this on the outside of the broomstick and this on the inside. Anyway, that's where I'm up to. How have you got on? Have you been playing along with me? Or have you just watched the video and now you're going to go and play? Listen. If that's your intention, make sure you do. I'm going to be checking up on you. Let me know how you get on if you do have a little play. I would literally love to hear. And if we get to back end of October and we've got a few completed pages, I would love to show all your guys' pages alongside mine. It'd be fantastic in a video. That'd be ace. I keep coming back to this as well. I do like that. So Neocolor 2s. I think I need to play with the inks more before I use it on this page. I think I owe it to you not to make too much of a mess of this one. So I think the Neocolor 2's off the palette. So I think I'm more comfortable working with them like that for now, for this page. So Neocolor 2's off the palette. I like this purple and green. And do you think I need to incorporate some of this colour into the background for it to balance with this paper? Do you see what I mean? So do you think I need to incorporate a little bit of this colour, if you like, with these colours to tie it to this bit? Yes, yes, yes. Cut out your pieces. The pieces that are going to go, so this is what I think I'm going to do. If I cut out pieces for the centre or the outside, so say I were going to put the spellbook paper on the inside, I could cut out the pieces and then take them back to my drawing board, and this edge I would distress, so you've got like a little fading of colour on the inside of this broomstick. Do you get what I'm saying? Or if I put it on the outside, I'd take this edge, when I've traced and cut this edge, I'd then bring my distressing ink around there so it'd like fade into the, yeah. I'm thinking, I don't know whether you know what I mean, but yeah. So get my paper glued, not glued down, but cut accurately, and then I'll take my distress ink on this edge. So when I put it back on, I've got a nice fade of distress oxide. Yeah, maybe a few burns up here. I'll probably go overboard with all that stuff, you know, because I don't know when to stop. Maybe a few ink splatters, and then I might do a smoky inside, a smoky past distress oxide or Neocolor 2. I've got loads of options, and I thought I might have a right clear decision on what I wanted to do. So this has been really useful actually, because I think I would be prepared to use more different media than I thought I would. So it's certainly been useful to me, for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed spending a little bit of time with me again, and please do get your background thoughts going, practice and play, make a little bit of a mess, come to some decisions. one thing I do know, when I sit down on Friday to do part 2 of 6 for you, I'm gonna know what I'm using for sure. So I've got a little bit of time to think about it now. Food for thought. All right. You have been wonderful company as always. I love talking to myself. I'll see you next time. Ta-ra! Do us a favour, if you've smiled during watching this or even laughed a little bit, or if you've got some use out of it, will you do us a favour and maybe consider, as well as liking and subscribing, maybe consider sharing it, giving it a repost or whatever you do on YouTube. All right, ta-ra for now.